You know what? Can we pause this for a second? Yeah. You know, usually I do an intro, but I'm fucking pissed, and I know you guys are pissed too.
We had to check you for weapons, I know. And it's very concerning.
I'm brokenhearted, and I felt like this is where it was gonna go, and I am just, okay. With that said, we have so much to talk about this episode. Welcome back to Final Cut, the official after show for Dexter Resurrection, and your spot for all things Dexter, as well as apparently emotional trauma. I'm your host, Jamie Chung, and yes, I'm Matt. Let's start off by saying, spoiler alert, if you haven't watched episode 9, what are you doing? Go watch it, get wrecked just like the rest of us, and then come back. You probably are sitting there blank, staring through the credits, wondering what the fuck just happened. Don't worry. I've got the man with all the answers right here. Scott Reynolds, you've got a lot of explaining to do. Thank you so much for breaking all of our hearts.
Hi, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
It broke my heart, too.
I want to get into this emotional scene.
I know. I put us in a real pickle with Batista.
You did, because he's like
we love him. He's the guy, you
No.
know, I wore this today because this was the bowling team that those two guys were on a
honor
bowling
of
team
him.
together in honor of Batista.
How interesting, because I'm
Yeah.
wearing all black, mourning the death of Batista.
Scott,
Yeah.
can you stand up and show us the back?
Yeah, let's
Oh,
see
yeah,
it.
yeah. Look at that. Bowl till you bleed, huh? Yeah, right.
What about cry till you bleed? I mean, come on.
Normally, we are not rooting for the guy that's going after Dexter, so
No.
it's very conflicting. Batista's the heart and soul of this thing.
The
yeah.
heart and soul.
And Dexter gave him the opportunity to like go away when they were in the car together. It's time for you to get off this train, go
Yeah.
home, end all
And
of this.
live.
But that's not the Batista we love either.
No, 'cause
Batista
he's the moral
believes in it.
compass.
There's not a world in which Batista could have ever forgiven him.
But we got to talk about the whole episode, because
Yeah.
there's so much going on. I mean, we were watching it together in the green room.
You're
I
very
was-
fun to watch
Oh,
TV with, I gotta tell
Thank
you.
you. I'm stress eating all the snacks, so much anxiety, and it's so fast paced, and it's so well done.
Oh, thanks.
So kudos to you. I mean, this episode, man.
It's a heartbreaker. It is.
God! Okay, let's get right into the episode, shall we?
Yeah, man.
Episode 9 is called Touched by an Angel.
Angel. We put a little thing above the A.
Ah.
Yeah. Touched by an angel.
We start this episode with the conclusion of that crazy cliffhanger.
Leon Prater.
Yeah, I know. How do you two know each other?
I thought Dexter was having a heart attack. And then I loved that the camera like zoomed into focus to see Prater, and I was like, oh my, my reaction. Coming in on him hot while he's having an intimate dinner with his son?
Red, I didn't know you had a son.
I know, but
Yeah.
Harrison, I was like, shut your mouth.
For Harrison, it's like
I know, but
Mark Cuban just walked in and started talking to your dad.
I know, but if I
Yeah.
was Dexter, I'd be like, fuck the pleasantries. It's like, shut the fuck up,
Yeah, you can't do that, because
you know?
Prater's a good dude. The world loves Prater.
Do we though?
Not anymore.
Not today.
Bah, bah.
I know. Trombone, please.
I've shared more of my personal history with you than I have with anyone. Serial killer or not.
Prater seems really frustrated with Red's secrecy, but also I think it makes him attracted to him in a weird way.
This is a job that's going to take a lot of work, but he's
To
fully
figure out.
to figure out and to make him bow before the king, right?
Yeah.
We wrote that in a way that Prater really does feel like, all right, I've got him. When he gets in the car, I can't wait to find out everything about you, and he's fully convinced it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Of course,
It doesn't.
it doesn't happen the way that he wants, which
No.
also excites him even further when we get to
The
what happens
kill?
with Charlie.
My son is off limits. Trust goes both ways.
It's funny when Red forcefully says, stay away from my son. And he puts a finger on Prater, and he just gets so excited. How did you approach the character of Prater, and what drives him?
Prater loves being around this kind of danger. When he touched his shoulder, anybody else would just be like, "Oh God, a serial killer just
Yeah.
touched me." He gets a
Real kick out of
rouse,
it.
a charge out of this thing.
Yeah.
You know, he has this, as he calls him as Prater calls Dexter later, like this lion who's gonna bite, but he's tamed this lion, and this lion is his, and he makes that very clear.
Yeah.
And then you see Dexter's smile drop off as Prater gets back into his car. And Dexter's like, nobody fucking owns me.
Yeah.
You know?
I love that Harrison at this point, his relationship with his father, totally united. He's like, fuck, Dad, what do we do?
Yeah.
I got your side, I have your back, What a great arc for him as well.
Yeah, I love that sequence that instead of the old Harrison would have blown up and said, what the fuck are
Yeah.
you doing, Dad? And at this point, he trusts his dad because
Yeah.
his dad, this season, has taken care of him and has protected him, has done all the things that a dad is supposed to
Yeah.
do. What I love about that scene too, when they're walking down the street and you see this sense of pride as Dexter's like, oh yeah, I snuck in, I killed Red, I killed a guy named Tattoo Collector and the Gemini Killer.
The
And he's like,
Gemini Killer?
Actually, there was 2.
The Gemini? He's been killing people for years and you just took care of him?
Them. Twins.
That look on his face is so priceless.
So good.
Yeah.
I'll be in touch.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Fuck.
Did Dexter know that he was being followed by Angel? Or is that
No.
just how he travels now? He's just like,
He's
is always
at this-
looking over his shoulder.
Well, at that point, he knew that Charlie had discovered him and
Yeah.
followed him to that restaurant and called up Prater. And so now it's like, who else is following? And certainly he's probably thinking, it's probably Charlie.
Room service.
Put the food on the table.
The scene between Charlie and Harrison, amazing. I love how we don't see what's happening, but such a creative way to tell the story
Yeah.
from the phone call as he's freaked out, reliving what just happened.
Because we wanted the fans, we wanted everyone who's watching it to feel what Dexter feels. If we had watched it all,
It
we
would
would
be
have
from
known
Harrison's
what
point of
happened.
view, yeah.
yeah. So doing it this way now, we are taking the information the same way Dexter is, and we get to watch Dexter absorb it, and we see his like anger rise up.
Yeah.
But he can't act like he's super worried because that's gonna really,
freak him out.
yeah, that's gonna freak out Harrison.
Well, why don't you have the same last name as your dad, Red? Why Morgan?
She knows you're Harrison, Morgan.
Yep.
One step away from Dexter, Morgan.
Marcus Yeaga and
Yeah.
our editor, like they worked really hard to make that thing. It was scripted that way.
Yeah.
It was originally Harrison was just gonna be like in the break room calling up Dad, and he was like, "What if we did it on a roof with the Empire Hotel behind him,
Yeah.
and you see the city, but you also see that like bright blood red of the Empire
Yes.
Hotel, which is sort of like upsetting, like the blood spatter all around us."
But then also like knowing exactly where he works.
Yeah.
It's kind of unforgettable, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
told him I worked at the Empire Hotel, and now she's here, and now
Yeah.
there's nowhere to hide.
And I love that toward the end of that where Dexter isn't upset at him. He's like, a little truth helps sell a great lie.
She kept asking me all those questions, and I know I kind of told her the truth.
No, you did good. That was smart. The right amount of truth helps sell a good lie.
It's fun to watch Dexter be a proper dad in that moment, you know, because as you know, you're a
Yeah.
parent. A lot of times, even when we know things aren't going to be okay, our job is to be like, no, it's going to be okay.
Oh, you're supposed to stay calm? I don't.
I was very proud of how that scene came together and how it kind of plays with storytelling in interesting ways.
My boss, Leon Prater, invites someone to his home. I vet them. And this is me vetting.
Her interrogation is fascinating. Can you take that lid off? God, I wish I could boss people around like that.
The minute that Harrison goes and takes that top off, A, she's got the fingerprints. But B, it's like, I got this kid. You know, and she's kind of quiet
No, she's
through it.
calm.
She asks him a question, he answers it, and then she just sits there and stares at him.
Poor Harrison.
Yeah.
I feel like he's been interrogated this whole season.
But Charlie got her interrogation, so.
I mean, karma's a bitch.
I'm so sorry, my friend. I forgive you.
I love that Dexter and Blessing make up.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta have some happy moments in this episode. Why did you feel like it was important to include the story of Blessing's past this season?
Well, it also humans him up because in some ways he's almost unbelievable in the way that, and I'm kind of this way. It drives my wife crazy. Like I'll meet people and I'll be like, "Come to my house. Let's watch
Yeah,
movies in my
I know.
backyard.
Oh my God,
Let's
we're the
take a-"
same.
Yeah.
What's
and
your
she's
number?
like, "Who's coming over?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah.
You know, the house isn't clean." The fact that Blessing had this dark secret that he was a child warrior, I think also helps Dexter in his story and who he is.
When I was a child, I was a soldier in the Revolutionary United Front. She thinks I'm a monster.
I really don't believe she thinks that.
Of course she does. How could she not?
You'd be surprised what your kids can handle.
Oh, really, Dexter? Just imagine if Harrison knew you had killed a person.
Just one.
That he's able to see this guy. That okay, so what? He killed one person.
Yeah. Big deal.
Yeah, Dexter's killed a whole bunch more, but it connects Dexter to him a lot more.
Yeah.
And it's also sort of hopeful for Dexter that this guy could
Oh,
turn
that's
it around.
normal.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
You could
Okay,
you could
yeah.
survive trauma, you could kill somebody, you could have horrible things happen to you when you're a kid, and you could still be a good person.
Yeah,
you know?
still be a good person, but I think
that
it also-
kernel of good that Dokes talks about at the very
Yes.
beginning of the season.
How you can change.
Go ahead. Take it out. Put it on the passenger side floor.
What an intense scene.
It's a reflection of the very first episode when
Yes.
Dexter does the garrote around the choir master that was doing horrible things to kids.
You're mine now, so do exactly as I say.
He does it again. This whole season is reflecting lots
On
of
his
reflections on his past and on
Oh
his
my
future.
God.
I mean, even this is the
yeah.
thing that was really fun for even Michael to discover on set. Each of the people that Dexter has been killing are just basically like circus mirror reflections of him.
Himself.
Yeah, when you think of the tattoo collector, I mean, they look like brothers, first of all. But that could have been Dexter if he'd just become what his brother wanted him to be.
Yeah, without the moral compass.
Each of these things are a part of his life that he's like, I'm gonna end that part next.
Yeah.
And figuring out what he's going to
God,
be.
so where
Which
does
brings us to Charlie, right? So,
Yes.
Watching Uma as Charlie feel fear, because we don't really see her emote at all,
Ever.
right? And the tears that were coming down. And
Dude.
Did you kill my mom?
it's interesting, like it's not that she's afraid to die.
No, she was afraid, like,
She's
did you
afraid
kill
for
my
my
mom?
Yeah, did you kill
is
my
she
mom?
okay?
And she's crying and she says, Prater finds out your weakness and exploits it.
And exploits it.
Mine is my mom and,
And yours is your son.
Yours is clearly your son.
Praetor broke the promise.
What I loved with what Uma did in that moment is that it's this anger that she has been brought down to this level.
Yeah.
You know, and that he has been too.
And he
she
saw-
might die because of who this motherfucker Prater is.
Mm-hmm.
And how he has exploited her and him and is just manipulating everybody and exactly where he wants it to be.
Well, this is actually good timing. I need a DMV plate search to find
I
someone.
spoke with your coworker, Lieutenant Quinn.
Angel shows up. He is this close to showing Wallace a picture of Dexter and Prater, which would have unraveled the whole story, but then he's cut off. Why? Why did you do that to us?
Yeah, you know, at that point, the cops don't believe anything he's saying anymore.
And also, he broke the law.
Yeah, he has been sent out into the wastelands, and so now it's all up to Batista to prove it himself, which is where Batista likes to be.
Yeah.
Let's face it.
That scene that you wrote in an interrogation scene, how demoralizing as a captain of homicide to now be in the seat to be interrogated by two detectives in New York who call him out for lying that you're pretending to be a cop. That's an offense. And then, you know, it's like, you need to go. And then, oh, one last fuck you, give me the badge.
Yeah.
And as he's walking out, like, just what a beautiful arc for David Zayas to do. Like, what an actor.
The way he looks up and sees this world that he will never be able to come back to. This is what Dexter cost him.
And then he nicked me with it.
With his Geely saw. Show me.
The way Prater acts towards Charlie's wound is spot on. Is that something that you wrote, you know, the specificity, or is that also something that Peter Dinklage brought to the table?
Dinklage made it great, but it's very much, once again, it gets down to that thing of like, he owns her, and so he doesn't, there's no.
No, it's like, I don't
he
need to
doesn't-
ask if I can touch you.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna touch you.
Yeah, you're mine, so I'm just gonna reach up and.
No, he's like, take off the Band-Aid.
Yeah, show me. And then
Creep.
touch that thing.
Oh, did you
Yeah.
wash your hands? I mean, no.
Curious how you know this guy.
You mean Mr. Schmidt?
No, it's Dexter Morgan. I worked with him for over 20 years in Miami Metro Homicide.
When Angel walks into Prater's mansion and reveals Red is actually Dexter Morgan.
And I love it!
I mean, I was like, that is it. You're never getting out of there, buddy. This whole season, resurrecting, believing in a higher being. What is Dexter's relationship to God this episode?
Yeah, this is something I really wanted to tackle, because when we first sat with Michael and we're talking about the season, he was interested in that. Like, what does Dexter think that he's able to, A, come back from the dead, which is a very, the resurrection, all that, and he keeps getting away with it. And when you keep getting away with things, you start to think, well, maybe somebody out there's looking out for me, right? This was the episode where Dexter really is thinking about these things. As Dexter's getting ready to go kill Prater, his voiceover's talking about how in the old days, people would pray to gods and it didn't work out so well a lot of times. So the thing that I trust is steel. And he flicks the knife.
I know.
And we see that's the Dexter that we're sort of comfortable with, the very factual, the very, this thing is who I am. And then he just keeps sort of thinking about it as he's heading toward Prater, leading to that moment where Prater does his big reveal and Charlie is behind him, stay cool, stay very cool with a gun. And Dexter finally does it. He says a prayer.
Little help here, God.
In those heightened moments,
we do
wonder.
Yeah.
We do think
Again,
about
it's a very
these
human
things.
thing.
It's a very human thing. Yeah. These are things that Dexter would have mocked back in the OG show.
Mary, full of grace, the Lord.
Stop! That never helped anybody.
This is what happens to us, And that came a lot from Michael and when we were in the early days of talking about the show. And these are things that I like to think about,
God, it's such good writing.
And I love it.
And then we get into the scene that ruined me.
Yeah.
For life. I mean, it's really up there with like
Rita at the end of
yes,
season
Rita,
4.
Jesus, and then now this.
You were able to place all that blame onto James Dokes. But that must have fucked with you just a little bit, right?
I couldn't help but see this whole scene through Angel's eyes. Was that intentional?
Yeah, we cut to him on that table,
like
looking at Dexter with so much hate and venom in a way that we're not used to.
Oh, God. He fought till the end. And he always considered Dexter family. And then for him to come back and then have that question of like, wait, you pretended to die, and now everything about you that I believed in you, that I stuck up for you, is now in total chaos and question.
And everything that happened started to make sense. Like everything, when Maria back in the OG show was saying that Dexter is the Bay Harbor Butcher, and everybody was like, calm your jets, you're getting a little crazy. Suddenly that made sense. The fact that Maria LaGuardia died, suddenly that got all twisted up, and what happened with Deb got all twisted up. And so Batista is wearing all of this like crazy guilt over ignoring all of this and believing, as he says in that great scene with Claudette and Oliva, where it's like he wears that goddamn gee-whiz smile, and he just wins everybody over.
I would like to be your benefactor. Just like I did with the Gemini killer.
Prater offers a compelling arrangement for Dexter. Tell us why Dexter could never agree to it.
Well, it's funny, because Dexter he says in his voiceover, oh, look at you taking my idea.
Look at him taking my idea.
There was a part of him that was, in previous episodes, sort of considering like, is there a version where I just kind of keep coming to this, I meet with all these serial killers, I get to hang out and have a great time with them, then they go home, I track them down, and I kill them. There's a world where Dexter could have lived with that, The minute the Prater went after his son, the minute the Prater brought in Batista the way that he did. Like, again, that goes to like just the hubris of Prater, that he thinks, I mean, it was pretty cool that I had Red, but now I have the Bay Harbor Butcher.
I mean, my God.
And the two of us get to work together. This would be so much better than with Gareth, where, because with Gareth, he got those photos ahead of time of like victims alive and then dead.
And then dead, ugh.
Charlie, give me the gun. Come on. It's embarrassing.
Even through all this tension, you still managed to pull in some humor out of the scene when Prater asks for Charlie's gun.
Yeah. So embarrassing.
God, you're so embarrassing. Don't embarrass me in front of my new friend.
That was him, by the way. That was, and it was scripted. He was just like, give me the gun. And then in the moment, it was like, so embarrassing. And we were like.
That is genius.
Behind the cameras, yeah.
Angel Batista has threatened my life, my son's life. Now that he's confirmed who I am beyond a shadow of a doubt, he will never give up. And rule number 1 is, don't get caught.
What we all love about Dexter is that he's not just a dark fucking cloud of a serial killer, right? He's not Gareth, right?
No.
He is an optimist. And even at the last moment, when Dexter's standing there and he knows, I can't do it, and he slices him free, he says, we were partners once, maybe we can be partners again.
We were partners once, maybe we can be partners again.
That does break your heart. Yeah.
Yeah, it broke my heart just thinking that Dexter did believe that. And that's Dexter the optimist. And that's why we love him so much, that no matter what life throws at him, he still thinks that maybe after all this stuff, Batista will see the light and see that I'm actually the good guy. Like it worked with Angela a little bit, right?
Yeah, it did.
And it worked with his son. And it worked with Deb back in the day. Really rough with Deb, but it worked out.
Worked with his father. I mean,
and his
come
dad.
on.
I love that moment when this like moment of calm in some ways where, Batista's strangling him, is on top of him. And Dexter has this moment where he's like, his voiceover says, there's some sort of justice to the fact that I'm gonna die at the hands of my friend.
Yeah.
And Dexter was kind of okay with that.
Yeah.
Like there was like a peace behind it that was then disrupted and, launches us into the finale.
There's something poetic about dying at the hands of my lifelong friend.
How about that look on his face when we reveal that it's Prater that shot him? Just incredible. And then Dexter rushes the door and Prater goes, just like, hello, goodbye. That was all him too.
It still ends this highly climatic scene with just the two of them looking at each other. Did you always know that Angel was going to have to die this season?
When we were breaking the season, a year ago probably at this point.
How could you live with yourself?
I know. This was the question we all asked each other. We chased lots of scenarios to see what could happen, but there's no way, we wouldn't like Batista if season 2 he's still chasing Dexter.
You're right.
It would make Batista a lesser detective.
Or change his moral compass.
Yeah,
right?
or if he went that way.
You keep the integrity of both characters.
Yeah. And
I'm glad that you did the work.
Yeah.
So I don't blame you, because you're right. This is the only way that it had to go. And that moment when Dexter's like, I need you to know that I didn't kill Dokes. I did not kill Maria.
I may be the bearer of Butcher, but I promise you I didn't kill them. It's your fault.
And then he's like, you know what? It's still your fault.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
And so I love that he's like, I'm not gonna let you win me over. Oh, that is a terrible breakup, by the way.
It's the worst breakup.
That is the worst friend breakup I've ever witnessed in my entire life. And then Michael C. Hall's performance.
That just pure gutter scream into the void. That was not scripted. That moment was Michael, as they were getting ready to do this big scene, Michael was just like, I want to scream. Because the fans want to scream, and I want to scream.
Yeah, of course he does.
Yeah, this is a guy who is feeling deep emotion. We'll explore that in the next episode. It's weird for Dexter to feel pain in,
Well, I mean, he did feel a lot of pain when he had to kill his own brother, right?
Yep.
That was one moment, but this hurt in a totally different way. That's his biological brother. He didn't really know, but this was his brother. Fuck.
Yep.
And it happened on the same bed.
Oh my God! It happened on the same bed. What are you, why?
It's a heartbreaker, man. It's a heartbreaker.
I mean, do you feel like people are sensing this moment?
Yeah.
From what you read?
There's a lot of folks that were just like, well, they could become partners. And it's like, that's not who Batista is. There's not a world where he could let that go. What happened to Dokes, he feels very responsible for too. That was his guy back then too. And Dokes was right. Just make a t-shirt. Dokes was right.
That's the slogan.
Motherfucker.
Surprise! I was right.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Let's talk about Angel Batista's arc, okay?
Yeah.
It's the suspicion, I gotta see it with my own eyes. I hope it's not true. This is the man that I call the brother.
Yeah.
And then the discovery of in that moment, you aren't who I think you are. And then chasing it down, I need the evidence to prove you aren't who you are. And then having the evidence, and then having,
Think about that moment too, just how big that was.
God.
That Batista had a plastic wrapped room.
And then for the cops to turn their back on him.
Because he's right at every spot.
David Zayas.
Yeah. La Passion, man.
La Passion. You are such an amazing actor. You did such a great job this season. And what a great art for you to write for him,
Yeah.
Killed it. Angel's not dead though, right?
Oh no, he's dead.
Okay.
No.
He's dead.
Yeah.
But
you never know in this world. You never know who Dexter likes to keep around.
Okay.
You never know.
I like
But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't.
Okay. Let's play a game, shall we? Let's lighten things up. We're gonna play Blood Slide Roulette, and right here, as you know, since you created it, is a box of blood slides. Please pick a question from 1 to 50.
I was gonna pick 13, but that David S. Malchin picked that last time.
Obviously. And 6.
So I will go. Let's go 27. That's the number I always play on roulette and never win.
Best bagel combo.
I am a lox, onions, capers,
love.
tomatoes,
Cucumbers?
Cucumbers.
Why not?
And cream cheese.
Yeah, but what
not
kind
toasted.
of cream cheese? Not toasted.
No, I don't
Get
toast
out
my
of here.
bagels.
Ew. It's too chewy. Pick another number.
How about 22?
Okay, great. So you're stuck in a cab with Dexter.
Oh.
What do you talk about for 30 minutes?
You know, here's what I do when I get in cars in cities that I'm not I'm not from, is I start asking them questions about where I should go. And I feel like Dexter would give me great spots to eat. When Batista was following him, using the AirPods, he comments about how he likes going to this one great Miami place.
Yeah.
And how the Cubano sandwich is pretty good.
All right. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
The Cubano's decent, but anyway.
I feel like if I got in Dexter's cab, I'd be like, trying to strike up a conversation and get too deep, make it super awkward, and then continue the conversation, and then it's just me just talking. He'd be like the silent. Yeah. Anyways, the season of Resurrection is absolutely mind-blowing. What is it like to write 8 seasons, New Blood, Original Sin, and now Resurrection? Like, as a creative person, like, you've just evolved into this beast. And like, how fun it is to write this season. What are your favorite parts?
Resurrecting Dexter, of course. Working with Michael again, giving him something to really
sink his teeth
into.
Everyone,
Exactly.
everyone in the season.
As we were sending the scripts out to different actors, having actors that I wanted to work with, and they're all saying yes, was pretty incredible.
Yeah.
And then just, you know, that first day on episode 4, when all the serial killers are all hanging out with old Dexter and Uma and Dinklage, we just kept pinching ourselves. We couldn't believe that this was actually happening. And all these people still, like a show that's like 20 years old, and people still, A, want to watch it, but B, like great people want to be a part of it.
Come on, it's the amazing actors, and then you're just in your writer's room like, how the fuck are we gonna kill these motherfuckers? Like, come on. What has it been like to see the reaction of the fans?
It's always scary, right? When you spend all this time crafting something, putting it all together, and we wouldn't put it out there if we didn't think it was good and worthy. It's been extremely gratifying. Fans are loving it.
It's the best, I dare say it. I will only say it this once. The best season of Dexter. For real. It is so good.
Because we put real emotional stakes for Dexter himself, right? If it was just Dexter meets a bunch of serial killers, it wouldn't hit us the way that it does. But putting Dexter at the beginning of this whole season, where he's just thinking about, if I'm gonna start over, I'm just gonna follow the code, I'm not gonna have any friends, and maybe watch over my son. And then thrusting him in the middle of all these serial killers, but he gets to be so open and honest with them, even though he's kind of lying, saying he's red.
Yeah.
And him realizing that, we all want to belong. We all want to believe in something. We all want to become something more than we are. Even serial killers who tell themselves, nope, all I got to do is follow the code and watch over my son. Those deep emotional stakes for Dexter, I think, are the things that really attach us to it and make the fans excited about it.
Have you been approached by any fan theories? And are you surprised by any of them?
There's a lot of folks that were saying Blessing is the New York Ripper, which I'm like, no, not a chance. That'd be so crazy if everybody that Dexter wanders into is a serial killer. I love that the fans are so involved with it that they're thinking, what's gonna happen next, you know?
What can fans expect for the season finale? Because you already threw it all on the table. What else are you gonna do to us?
Man.
What is gonna happen?
Obviously, I don't want to give things away.
Obviously.
But there are more surprises in place.
More?
There are more visitors to come. And Dexter has a incredible, it's great. Let's just say that. What Clyde and Mark and Alex, our writers, you know, Clyde wrote the teleplay of that thing, and they wrote the story of this thing. What they have put together is both very exciting. Everybody's in danger, and the way it ends is so, if I have to say so myself, it is.
So take your anti-anxiety medication before you watch the episode.
Yeah, but
okay.
you'll come to a sweet spot.
Oh, God.
it is a rocket of an episode from the very beginning.
I don't think my heart can handle that.
And we tie everything up. I think,
Okay, good.
And leave some things out there that'll.
Okay,
be
can you
great
talk
for
about
next
what you
season.
leave open for next season?
Yeah.
Are you the one doing the voice? I'm sorry, the sound for the trombone, because that was spot on. Thank you so much for tuning into Dexter Final Cut, and a huge thank you again to our special guest, Scott Reynolds.
Yay,
you are
thanks for
forgiven,
having
you
me.
broke our hearts, that's okay. Don't forget to subscribe to the Dexter YouTube channel, drop a comment, and jump into the Dexter community. We love hearing all your theories and questions. Stream new episodes of Dexter Resurrection on Paramount Plus only with the premium plan. And then swing on by to the Dexter YouTube channel the day after for our official breakdown. I'm Jamie Chung, crying on the inside, and until then, tread lightly. And now, a sneak peek of next week's episode.
Welcome, everyone, to my favorite night of the year.
Prater killed Batista, and I'm next. That thing for justice. Maybe it runs in the family.
What a turnout!
You're not going anywhere. Time for the world to see the real Leon Prater. This was not on my list of ways to die.
Original series and New Blood, available on the Essential Plan.